Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. So if you're a PC player like me, Elden Ring comes out in mere hours, and I gotta say personally, I have not been so excited for a video game since probably Skyrim. Halo Infinite didn't get me this excited. Red Dead Redemption came close, but not quite. Elden Ring has brought me to next levels of hype, and it's done so for millions of video gamers who see this as perhaps one of the greatest video games of all time. At least potentially. The weird thing is, 1 month ago, this game wasn't even on my horizon at all. So basically, I want to explain what happened, and I want to make this video for someone like me a month ago who hadn't played any Dark Souls games and doesn't understand the hype. Before we begin, however, I do just want to mention that when Elden Ring comes out tonight, I will be streaming it live on Twitch. God knows how many hours I'm going to be putting into this game, so make sure you follow us on twitch.tv/EcksToo. We've got a ton of fun streams over there. As a note for this video, I am going to be showing some Elden Ring footage, only stuff from the official promotional teasers and trailers. Some of you guys will probably not want to see that, so maybe just listen to this video. You won't be missing that much anyway. Alright, so a bit of backstory, then I'll get into my experience. For those who don't know, Elden Ring is a FromSoftware game. They're the Japanese studio behind Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and others. Their games are well known for being very difficult, and that turns a lot of people off. Here's something strange though. Until about a month ago, as I mentioned, Elden Ring wasn't on my radar. In fact, I didn't even realize it was a FromSoft game. Something, I don't know what it was, drove me to pick up Dark Souls early in February. As a bit of backstory, I actually picked up Dark Souls when it first came out. I even got past the first, in my opinion, really difficult boss, the Bell Gargoyles, but at that point, the world really opens up. And to be honest, I found that intimidating. I was already struggling with the difficulty, and the lack of direction kind of turned me off, to be honest. So, as a younger person with lots of other games to play and other things to do, I dropped it and did something else. Something drove me early in February to pick it back up, so I bought Dark Souls Remastered on the PC, and the rest was history. Streamed a lot of the experience. I put 35 hours into the game, basically over the span of a week or two. I was fully addicted. I want to explain why, because this is something that has happened to millions of people around the world, and it's something that a lot of people don't quite understand. It's true. Dark Souls is extraordinarily difficult. Well, at least for your first time. When you play the game, and if you've never played a Souls-like game before, you're gonna die dozens or more likely hundreds of times. It'll start off, you won't even be able to make it through a single skeleton with a shield, and that's where they get you. As the game progresses, they move you through more intimidating enemies. When I say intimidating, I don't mean just the fact that the enemies tend to do more damage and have more complex movesets, but FromSoft's monsters and bosses are intimidating on a visual level. You'll see this massive monster, a dragon or a massive skeleton or some unholy beast, and you'll be armed with just a shield and a sword. There are no quick time cutscenes. The Millennium Falcon's not going to swoop in and save you. You're armed with whatever you've given your character throughout your adventures. Your sword, your shield, your spells, whatever. And the first time you play the boss, especially as a new player, yeah, you're probably going to get crushed. But where the real satisfaction comes is the fact that with enough determination, with some memory, and with some patience, you'll get through it. If there's one thing about FromSoft games that I've learned after playing Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, they are very, very fair. There are records of people playing through every FromSoft game in a row without taking a single point of damage. That is an incredible feat, one that I personally can barely comprehend. But there are also a lot of people who manage to beat the game without leveling up once. That's a much more common feat. Now, although min-maxing comes into play if you're going to focus on PvP, the game really allows any playstyle. I compare that with Jedi Fallen Order, for example. When you fight the bosses, it really puts you into one sort of style against them. They telegraph a move, you've got to parry it or counter it. In Dark Souls, you got to make sure that you're playing the game your way, the best way you can. Now, of course, there are bosses that need to be adapted to in certain ways. Sometimes you got to roll, sometimes you got to do other things, but it's always achievable. And the thing is, once you do get those dozen deaths down and learn the boss's move and manage to kill him with no heals remaining and just a sliver of health, as I did with the final boss of Dark Souls 3, there is a level of satisfaction and accomplishment unlike any other that I have ever experienced in gaming. There's no amount of flashing lights or points or anything else that can rival that level of accomplishment because you've actually done something. It's almost like video gaming in its purest form. I imagine it's what speedrunners or people who really like very difficult real retro video games feel like. A funny thing happened to me when I beat Dark Souls 3, which I did move on to after finishing Dark Souls 1. I accidentally skipped the final cutscene. I was trying to mute my Spotify, I clicked out of the window, and I canceled the cutscene. I couldn't have cared less. I beat the last boss. I don't know if I got an achievement for it. It doesn't matter. It was all mental reward, and that feels like something that's so rare in video games nowadays. But it's not only the reward of beating a single boss, it's the fact that you are getting better. You can go back to those early areas and yeah, you've got more powerful weapons, but you'll be tearing through those beginner enemies because you are just better now. It's a phenomenon that countless people have experienced, but there's a reason why people get disappointed if they hear the newest FromSoft game is easier, because it's the challenge that's fulfilling. And anyone can do it. I'm not an amazing video game player. I truly believe that anyone can do these games if they put the time and effort down. Now, it is a lot of time and effort, but there are ways you can make it easier. Every boss has summons which you can use, and I personally chose not to use them. I wanted to get the feeling of accomplishment on my own, but that's because that's personally what I wanted. I haven't found anyone in the Dark Souls community who judges or cares if you use summons, if you use 5 summons, if you bring a friend in. It sounds corny, but it's really all about the personal journey, which is very cool. When playing Dark Souls 1, I chose to go for a dex build, which is basically a fast weapon build. I had a cool katana. Moving into Dark Souls 3, I chose to keep the same katana. It doesn't transfer between games or anything, but I found it very early on. And I also kind of had a challenge for myself that I would keep using that weapon until I beat the final boss. There are other weapons which could have made it significantly easier. And if someone else used that, I wouldn't have judged them. That's just how I wanted to play the game. The gameplay loop that FromSoft has developed is genius, and there's a reason why they've used it for Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, all of these games, and why people keep buying them. That's to say nothing about the world building, the other aspects of the video game, which other people I think can talk about more competently than me. Needless to say though, the creature design and the vistas and everything visually about FromSoftware games is unlike anything else really in the industry. There are points when I play those games where I feel genuine revulsion at the enemies that I'm fighting. It's all part of the experience. And I kind of have an interesting situation because I started with Dark Souls 1, I beat that in about 35 hours, level 70 or 65, I moved on to Dark Souls 3. I actually struggled a lot more with that game, but fully addicted as well, pushed through it. I saw kind of how systems and mechanics have updated over time, beat that in about 35 hours as well, level 78, and that game I found significantly more difficult, despite it not being my first Souls game, and again, that made it all the more rewarding when I got through it. So now moving into Elden Ring, not only am I expecting to get that challenge again, for there to be new types of encounters and bosses and everything else, but the game has also been revolutionized with an open world system with new graphics unlike those seen in the previous games. More weapons, more magic, more everything, and it's just kind of what we've wanted for so long. It's kind of crazy how active even the original Dark Souls community is. When I was playing Dark Souls 1, I put a couple of posts in the subreddit. I was literally answered within minutes. There are people still playing those games. The servers unfortunately are under maintenance right now, but in the opening area, you can hear the chimes of people as they load into the game. The games have a cool sort of quasi-online feature, which others can talk about or you can Google, but you see people, whether it's their messages, their ghosts, or little things like those chimes, and it's just crazy how long people have been playing those games. There are people who do Dark Souls 1 runs 2 or 3 times a year. I finished my Dark Souls 3 run and I immediately started another one because I wanted to try a completely different class for Elden Ring, and I've kind of decided that I'm going to abandon what I've done for Dark Souls 1 and 3 and start off with a new adventure with different weapon types and different loadouts, and that's honestly a lot of the fun. So people are so excited for Elden Ring because it's easily the largest FromSoft game. It seems like it might be twice as big as any in the past. It's got these gameplay improvements, it's got all of these new systems, it's got the new open world style which promises to be really cool. And with the reviews coming out yesterday, it's hard not to feel like this could be one of the greatest games of all time. For me, Dark Souls 1 is probably one of my top 3 favorite games of all time, and I'm jumping into that really late. Here's what I would say: if you've always wanted to play a Souls game and Elden Ring really has you interested and it's the difficulty that's keeping you away, don't let it. You can do it. The fact that you don't think you can at the beginning is what's going to make it all all more satisfying when you kill your first really scary monster. But it's an expensive game, so if you're not sure, keep an eye out for one of the earlier games to go on sale, see if you can borrow one of them from a friend. But if you do play the game, I'm also going to encourage you, check out the community. It's been kind of interesting as they've been streaming it. Usually you pick up some new followers here and there, but when I was playing Dark Souls 3 and especially Dark Souls 1, I picked up a bunch of new people who just stopped by because they enjoy seeing people play the game for the first time. I had to fight the second to last boss in Dark Souls 3 for 3 hours, and people were like, we're appreciating this because it's cool to see perseverance and whatever else. I thought it was going to be crappy content that no one would be interested in, but you know, the community is really cool. It's very positive. It's not judgy if you choose to use some of the things that make the game easier, like summons or whatever else. And I'm rambling, but I am very, very excited for this game. I'll be streaming it tonight on EcksToo. I think Charlie and Corey are also going to stream it at the same time, so keep an eye out. Charlie will probably stream it on YouTube, Corey on his channel. It'll be their first FromSoft games. I think I've kind of convinced them how awesome they are. But I hope to see some of you tonight, and I hope to see some of you hopefully not invading my world. But until next time, be safe, have a good one. May the Force be with you.